I'm going to talk about how to do some of the finishing touches for your portrait. As you continue in the painting, you should be looking at finer and finer bits of information. You should be refining shadows, refining highlights. This is when you can focus on the facial features, like the eyes, the nose, the mouth, making them look as realistic as possible, because everything else is in place and been established. If you work on these things too early, then the rest of the face can look incomplete. The face should already be a coherent image. By the time you're putting in details like this, the painting should be able to work without them. If you find yourself putting details like this in before you have a coherent image, then you have done something horribly wrong. This is where you look for eyelashes and little shifts in color on the eye. This is where you make the eyeball look spherical. I will often get questions about hair. The best way to conceive of hair is to look at groupings of hair that I would call a tress, and to paint those colors just as you would any other color shape. You would put those in as a foundational layer of paint. As you get further into the painting, you can begin to go over those with smaller bits of information and create linear components which give the impression of hair. The biggest mistake you could make is trying to paint every single hair that you see. The level of finish that you want to accomplish is in some ways a personal choice. However, it's important to note that there is always a means of pushing yourself and creating more information. One of the most important things that you can do is really study an image to try to expand your understanding of it. After you have studied your image, you might find that there is a point in which you can no longer find things to add. Once you feel that you have completed your painting, you may wish to move on to using different materials. One material that I like to use in conjunction with watercolor is color pencil. I like to use Curanda ash pencils because they are light fast. However, today I'm going to try out a new material, which is a wax pastel. These wax pastels are water soluble, so I should be able to use them interchangeably with my watercolor. I would not typically advise trying out a new material for the first time while recording a video demonstration. However, I like to live dangerously. In using the wax pastels, I can easily create linear elements to give the illusion of textures like hair. I like having this option. In case I've made a mistake with the watercolor, I can cover up those mistakes, because once you've painted something too dark, it's almost impossible to make it light again, especially if it's a thin, light line. By using materials like this in the later stage of the watercolor, I allow myself the freedom to make mistakes in the earlier stage. When you have the freedom to make mistakes, you're able to take chances and approach things in a new and different way. This makes painting really exciting and can make the final result very interesting. Additionally, by adding a different material, I am adding to the visual richness of the piece, along with the physical surface. Once you've chosen to use another material, you've established a point of no return. You should not mix these materials unless you know for a fact that they can mix, for example using water-soluble color pencils, but still it is a risk. I would highly caution against using multiple materials simultaneously within one piece. There's an old saying, a painting is never finished, it is merely abandoned. Though there could be more work to be done on this piece, I am satisfied. Time to move on to the next painting. Once I am finished, I will varnish the surface with a fixative or shellac and then apply oil wax to protect the surface from moisture.